Want to learn how to improve your follow-up game to close deals faster without feeling like you're just pestering your prospects? Hey, I'm Marcus Shea, founder of Six Figure Sales Academy, and that's exactly what we're going to cover today in this video, in which I'll share with you my 5 favorite follow-up strategies to close deals faster, to help you shorten down your sales cycle, and to minimize ghosting. Now, this is actually a live training recording that I did recently with my Facebook community of over 3,300 plus members, so I hope you enjoy. And of course, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification button, as I'll be dropping more valuable trainings in the future. Enjoy. So we're going to cover the 10 hard truths on why prospects ghost you. It is the nature of the beast, but it's important to understand why they actually ghost you. My number 1 strategy for eliminating ghosting, we'll cover that today as well. And 5 foolproof follow-up strategies for nurturing and closing deals. This is stuff that I do, I've done, my team's done, people I've trained have done, which has helped them close a lot of business. And of course, as a bonus, I'm also going to share with you a couple of my favorite follow-up memes as well at the very end too. So first off, let's look up the 10 hard truths on why prospects ghost you. And I want to share just understand the base of a sale, because when you really just strip it all down and keep it as simple as possible, the basis of a sale is this. This prospect has 100% confidence, okay? You add in, they perceive the risk of using you, your service, your product, your solution, whatever you sell, consulting. It could be a software, it could be a physical product, it does not matter. They perceive to be low risk, okay? And they perceive the value to be very high. So I'm going to say again, they have 100% confidence that there's low risk, low perceived risk, and high perceived value. So there's a big gap, differential here. And you also multiply that by having all the right players that influence the decision. All right. So that could be 1 person, 2 people, 5 people, a board, who knows? All right. So whatever the situation is, but when you have us all together, when you add these pieces together, you multiply all the right players, it's going to lead to a close one opportunity, or a very high chance of a close one opportunity. All right. So understand that. So when I go into the hard truths, they're going to be controllables, things that you can't control, and there's going to be uncontrollables. All right. I'm going to go through all of them. So this way you can really focus on what you can control. And then for the uncontrollables, it is what it is. You just got to accept it as it goes. So let's talk about the controllables. So first off, here's the first hard truth. Okay. They do not see enough value in the solution. Okay. That could be in the solution. That could be in the company. It could be, it could be all of the above, meaning the perceived value that you are showing them is not greater than what is going on currently. I'm going to say it again. So that means the perceived value you are showing them is not greater or great enough, right, than what's going on currently. Okay. So for example, that could be there's no cost of inaction, or there's not enough, right? So they don't perceive enough. So perhaps if the cost of inaction is for a business, it's going to cost them, say, $1 million. Well, if the business is doing, say, 30 billion a year, they may not see that as a COI. They're like, whatever. That's like a drop in the hat for them. All right. So potentially the COI, there's no COI, or is not enough of COI. All right. Number 2, or part of that as well. Another example is there's not enough pain uncovered. So there's not enough pain uncovered, exposed, or there's not enough pain. So there's not enough pain to take action. So for example, it's kind of like if you have like a little cut on your arm. If it's just a little cut, you can put a bandage on it. You're not going to go to the doctor. It's not a big deal. But if it's exposed and you see it's infected, it's oozing blood, it's really nasty and gross, and it's turning all weird colors, now the pain's so high, even if it's the same level of cut, but look, it's so high that now action is going to be taken, right? So the truth is, if there's no pain or not enough pain, there's no gain, or there's not a clear enough impact, or it's not enough. Because the impact is not enough to actually make them want to make a switch or make a change. So if you are selling to a highly competitive market where there's a lot of competition, and it's very much a, it could be, it's easily mimicked. There's a lot, then that can be very tough as well. So you have to really show a clear impact, otherwise you're not gonna make a switch. Number 2, the next hard truth is you did not get all the right players involved in the deal. So this is one of the things, this is probably one of the most common reasons I see deals get stalled out or lost, is you did not get all the right players in the deal. So meaning there's 10 people actually involved to make the deal happen, but you're only heavily involved with 5. or you didn't get them in the right order, or you don't have executive sponsorship from the right people. So again, it all breaks down to, do you have the right players to play the game? And that starts from how you do the run process. All right. Number 3, the perceived risk of using you is higher than the status quo or using someone else. So they could have tons of pain. They have a major cost of inaction. There's a clear impact, for example, but they may perceive using you as potentially higher risk than using someone else or doing absolutely nothing. So that's definitely, again, this is controllable here, but this is the hard truth that you have to just accept. All right. So it's not about what you believe, but what do they perceive to be the truth? Because, whatever they believe is now the truth. Their perception is a reality. All right. So number 4, they just don't like you. That's very possible. Maybe they just don't like you. Okay. Maybe they just don't like you. Maybe they don't trust you. They don't know you, or they don't know, like, or trust you enough. That's just reality. And this could be for you, the company, etc. And this is just a hard truth where, in general, a lot of salespeople, all of us, we want to be liked. I want to be liked. You probably want to be liked. And sometimes we believe they should all like us, but sometimes they just don't like us. That's why sometimes, if you've been at a company for a while, you may go after an opportunity, you don't close it, but then maybe a peer yours goes after it and then closes it, a short time after, because they simply did a better job. They like them more. So that's just true. And if we think about it, when you, if you're if they don't like you at all, they don't trust you, they're just not going to do business with you, even if you had the best solution in the world. So I'll give you an example. So this is a B2C consumer example, but this is years ago. But my father-in-law, he just left the company he was at. He had a bunch of stock. He cashed out, and he's never really had a nice car. So he wanted to buy a new nice car. He's always drove like this very conservative Honda. So he's like, I want to get a Mercedes. So he sets up a time on a Saturday, goes to the dealership to look at Mercedes, and he finds one he's absolutely in love with, loves the vehicle, it's beautiful, everything, and he wants to negotiate with the salesperson. And the salesperson is so offended. The salesperson's like, what? This is a Mercedes. People don't come here to negotiate. And the guy literally said to my father-in-law, he said, I was supposed to go golfing today and I didn't go golfing to come here. Now you're trying to negotiate with me. That, of course, completely turned off my father-in-law. He literally went down the street to another dealership and bought a car in cash, right? So an equivalent at a competitor. So I share that because reality is, he loved the brand. He liked that deal. He liked everything, but he didn't like that person, that salesperson, right? So I'm not saying, you all are doing anything like it, but sometimes they just don't like you there could be reasons like that, or something totally insignificant. Maybe they didn't like how you wrote emails, how you responded, how you engaged, how you follow up. We don't know. But the truth is, you got to look in the mirror and see, what can I work on to really improve those things? Okay. Again, these are all controllable things you can really work on. All right. Honestly, I just don't like anybody. So then it is what it is. So those are controllables. Now let's go into the uncontrollables, right? So for example, timing is off. That's sometimes the case. It's just simply timing is completely off. You can't change that. Okay. You can only get the fact. Next one. A key player in the decision-making process, they change roles or they leave the company. Again, you can't control that, but that could cause your deals to stall and potentially, lengthen out as well. There is no budget or access to funds. So they literally just not able to get funding to be able to, to do your program, to do your, to buy your product, buy your solution, or maybe there's no budget as well. Maybe they're just maybe they're in the red on their financial statement across the board and they just can't make it happen. Sometimes that happens. Again, you can't control that, right? So again, this is why it's so key to go out the right target market. Number 8, marketplace shifts. Again, you can't control if maybe the country, the region, the state has some sort of government or political turmoil. You can't control that. If something crazy happens like COVID, you can't control the uncertainty. So those are some things that from a marketplace perspective, you can't control it. So again, you can only control what you can't control, but you can't control if there's marketplace. That's just reality. You also can't control if your competitor, the competitive sales rep comes in and just does a better job than you. You can't control if they're just better than you, right? You can control how well you do, but if they are just better than you, you can't control that, all right? And also sometimes stuff happens, okay? So sometimes it has just literally just nothing to do with you. Like it's just stuff happens in their personal life, whatever. So my point to you is you control the controllables, which are these top things up above. Okay. So that's important as part of the follow-up strategy. Now let's dive into the actual, the strategy. So first one, it may seem super obvious, but I had to point this out because if you just simply do this will increase the follow-ups actually showing up. And in fact, the deals will actually close faster and you'll shorten your sales cycle as well. So number one is making sure your sales process from the beginning, from complete cold outreach all the way through you run the process is absolutely nails, right? So meaning this is a very proactive strategy, right? So meaning your sales process is amazing. You have an amazing discovery. Like you are nailing the 7 buyer beliefs. And if you're not sure what the 7 buyer beliefs are, right, you can go into this into the Facebook group if you're part of that, and you can go to guides, and there's obviously tons of trainings here, like literally hours of trainings here, and it's how to run a discovery call that closes at 30% plus. Okay, like this breaks into the 7 buyer beliefs, and I go through making sure how do you actually run the whole sales process really effectively, which is this right here. Okay, so that's really that's really key, because on top of that, it means you're doing an amazing job with multi-threading. You're doing an amazing job with the demo and alignment. And the truth is, when you run a sales process like an absolute pro, they want to do business with you. All right, and thus they stay engaged, because now you actually massively shorten the sales cycle down. You involve multiple people, etc. And this goes into not just how you run your first call, your second call, it's for every single step. And on top of that, just give you even more specifics here. How are you closing out each call? When you wrap up each call with them, whether it's Zoom, physical, face-to-face, or a phone call, how is each call wrapped up? Do you have clearly defined next steps on what's going to happen? So for example, when you really think about it, if you and them had to map it out from A to Z in granular detail, when that call ends, what will they do and what will you do? Is it crystal clear on both sides? And it's not, you don't want to assume, like, oh, I think they know what to do. It has to be crystal clear. So for example here, let's just say if they have to maybe talk internally to multiple other parties, bring them together for the next meeting. What does that look like? How will they reach out? Is there a team huddle? Are they going to bring them the next meeting? Are they going to call them? Are they going to Slack them? Who are those people? What might they say? What are the hesitations? What are their opinions? Who might they lean toward for using this specific product or solution? So again, this is all part of how you wrap your call. This is actually why, let's just say if you have an hour-long call, you really want to spend like at least like 10, 15 minutes at the very end, wrapping the call up and getting crystal clear on exact next steps and what's going to happen. All right. So, and what you want to think about is each call sells the next step. So if it's a multi-call opportunity, it's a big opportunity. Each call is selling the next step of what happens next. All right. If they need to get specifications, what does that mean specifically? Who is all involved? Who do they need involved as well? So really think what happens next, why, and how it benefits them, right? And it's crystal clear, all right? So you really want to map this out A to Z, granular detail. This is a mistake that many people make, and they usually end with something like this. They say, "Hey, cool, awesome. So we'll talk more on Friday. I'll give you a call. We'll set up a time then for that, and then just talk to your people, and we'll be good to go." That's very general. What specific is going to happen, right? So this is why people get ghosted all the time, because they do not do a good job with closing the call out. This is wild. So you add in, you can do an amazing job up front on the first part of the process, but if you close each call terribly, you'll get ghosted as well. Hey, if you are enjoying this so far, make sure to smash the like button and hit subscribe so you're notified when I drop more awesome videos like this. And also, make sure to watch to the very end. I'll show you exactly where you can access this guide completely free. Okay, I add some more stuff here. So perfect. So it's really what's good to point out as well is it also requires asking a tough question, like getting super granular. So for example, if let's just say it's being the primary decision maker, but they happen to have a partner that also influences the decision. So you want to know, like, hey, so if it was up to just you and that other partner was in the picture, would you move forward with solution X? Is that a yes or no? And how are they saying that? When you talk to so-and-so, what concerns might they have? What might be on their mind? What are they leaning towards? What's important for them? If they say no, what are you going to say and what are you going to do? So again, these aren't easy questions to ask. And how you say in the confidence level you ask these questions is very important, because you really want to know. You're not necessarily being weird or sleazy or hard closing them. You simply want the truth, and you're being a professional here. Help them mentally walk through the journey of what's going to happen when that call ends, so that way they're mentally prepared on how to handle a situation. Because let's just say, for example, if person B, the partner, is very price conscious, and they know that, but they haven't told you that, they may not be thinking about how will I overcome that objection that partner is going to have. So you need to help them mentally walk through that and how to handle that objection. So that way, when they hit that objection from their partner, they are 100% confident on how to overcome that. Really important. Otherwise, you'll get ghosted. Okay. So really, really key. Also, like as part of your process, they got to like you, want to work with you. Like that's just a reality. If you seem like a boring, lame person, like let's be real here. Like they may not want to have another conversation with you. If it feels like they're it's pulling teeth to have a conversation with you, they may not want to talk to you. And I'm not saying you need to be like, out, just totally out there and loud and like in your face. I'm just saying like, do they enjoy the conversation with you? Right? Do they like put the business aside? Like, could they see themselves going and grabbing a drink or having some coffee with you, just having a good conversation? Like that's a part where a lot of people just kind of underestimate, or they put too much emphasis on because you need all the above, but they at least kind of like you to some extent. Okay. And they want to, they want to work with you. Okay. Also, here's another point as well. So even when you're wrapping the call up, you can incorporate some humor as well, depending on your personality. So it has some good EQ here, right? So for example, here, looking forward to going over the specs, on Friday. If anything pops up, can you just do me a solid, just do me a favor, just not ghost me. All right. Ha ha ha. Awesome. Cool. Great. Awesome. So just give me a call or email me if we need to reschedule. Is that cool? Fantastic. So now it's really clear. You're joking a little bit. This helps tee them up. So they're like, okay, hopefully they're not going to like ghost you now. Right. So now this is just, you're just mentally preparing them, but also you're just being real. You're being a human being. Like, don't be, because part of it's like having this process, but you can't be a process robot. You got to be like someone that actually enjoy having a conversation with. So that's number one. One of the best ways, no joke, is nail everything up front. It sounds kind of crazy and oversimplified, but I promise you, if you do this, it's going to help you on the back quite a bit. That's number one. So number two, play it like poker. All right. So these are very proactive strategies here. So for example, here, what you do not want to do is reveal all the potential plays or moves front. I'm going to say it again. Do not reveal all your potential plays or moves up. And what I mean by that is don't present and spew everything at them, as it can really cloud the situation. Like you always want to be a few moves ahead, and you always want to feel like you have something in your tool belt to pull out. You want to feel like you're Batman, if you will, on your utility belt, and you have many different batarangs and different tools to pull out that you can utilize, a grappling hook, whatever Batman's got. So that way you always have something to re-engage and pull them back in, right? Something new, shiny, and cool. So let me give you some examples here. So for example, let's just say maybe you have more general pricing, and that's what you do the whole process really well, and you gave general price, all right, and you feel pretty good, you're gonna lock it up. But perhaps maybe within the selling rules of your company, you have some wiggle room on how you can adjust, twist, and move around with the funds, if you will. So with that being said, what you don't want to do is immediately start give them that pricing and then all right, cool. If pricing is an issue, let me know. I can adjust and have wiggle room up to 20%. Well, you don't want to do that because it's not necessary yet, and you want that card for later. Okay, so again, you don't want to give a customer price until they're 100% certain that they actually are in. They want the solution. Okay, and pricing is an objection. So for example, I gave some other examples here. So for example, if you have different pricing tiers, that's additional tool you can pull out later. If there's different terms and conditions, you can pull out as well to reignite the conversation, to move them forward as well. If there's different bonuses or solutions or extra support your company can provide as well, that's not part of the main core thing that you're selling. Again, those are great things as well. So the key is not pulling all at once. A mistake a lot of rookie reps make is they say, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all those things and throw it all at the table, and now hopefully that'll really resonate with them. No, you only present to them what's really most important, what they want, that's going to solve their core issue and bring the most amount of value, and then you keep the other piece in your back pocket. So if you need to utilize them as part, whether it's part of your follow-up strategy or to move the deal forward, you have them right there. Okay, so this gives you additional ammunition and a reason to follow up if a deal stalls out. All right. So for example here, let's just say, let's go back to the custom pricing example. Say maybe you have wiggle within 20%, and you present the pricing, and and then suddenly you get an email from them a week later, or they start ghosting you, right? And you're trying to find out what's going on, and you're able to get back on a call, and you find out that it's you maybe you have a coach internally, and they tell you it's because of pricing. You guys are a little out of the ballpark, so that's why the main person's ghosting you. So now you can reach out to the main person and say, hey, listen, I really want to earn your business. I potentially have something that you guys may like, in terms of some tweaking, refine to the numbers, but I want to make sure we're on the same page. You have 5 minutes to chat. Now they're a little more interested, because now they're like, oh, okay, let's jump on a call, right? So you kind of see my point there, right? There's no like this works every single time. It's understand the situation and utilize whatever cards you have or tools on your your bat belt, if you will, and uncovering what's their objection and utilizing that to guide them back into conversation. So play it like poker. So don't give it all out. Again, there's so many ways to do this. These are some examples here. Every company has different things as well. They may offer to throw in that can really help move things forward as well. Okay. All right, cool. Also, sometimes regardless of how great of a job that you do, all right, one of the uncontrollables kicks in that we mentioned earlier, and your deal will stall out. So these next few strategies I'm going to go over next are very effective in just keeping them engaged and really ideally at the very minimum, probably a monthly cadence, assuming it's going to close in that year, as just a good rule of thumb. All right. So again, I'm going to say it again. Sometimes you could do all these things above and you're like, yeah, I nailed it. I killed it. I'm doing a great job at everything, but there's still it goes to me. That's going to happen. I mean, that's just the nature of the game. Understand that. And just remember that, again, the fortune is in the follow-up. So let's talk about that, right? Because all these things will help shorten your sales cycle. And these next things can really help as well. So for example, number one, this is a really, really easy one. Okay. So value plays, this is third strategy, value plays. So sending specific value pieces that are relevant and will solve problems they told you during the process. All right. I'm saying again, send specific value pieces that are relevant and will solve problems they told you during the process. So for example, that could be articles your company published or third-party articles of maybe from Harvard Business Review or other great resources that's really valuable for them. It can be trainings or recorded trainings that can be valuable for them. It could be live webinars coming up. It could be podcasts, etc. Really, it's really to your own creativity, right? But the most important piece is it of value to them? The mistake I see a lot of reps make is if they try this as a value play, they end up just finding something that they think is of value, but it's not relevant to that ICP or is not relevant to the conversation they already had. So that's why it's really, really key because you got to understand. So say, for example, if you're going after, let's just say HR execs, right? In HR execs and, maybe their big core issue is like turnover and your software helps with like, employee engagement. I'm just making something up. And you send them something that's about like, like some sort of like, 3 ways to do better performance reviews. That may not be relevant to them. They don't really care about that. Yeah, it's kind of in the HR space a little bit, but again, it may not be relevant to them. So again, it's got to be relevant to them that they actually care about. So they see it, it's like, oh, wow. So think about this. The value plays are like, what's the story in their mind? Whatever challenge you're running into, they might have told you in early conversations, and how can you help solve them now or insert some things that are going to be of value for them? Okay. So, and also there's a couple different thought processes because some people just send to them, say, hey, Marcus, based on a conversation we had about a month ago, I thought you might like this, this article on 3 ways to reduce sales turnover in sales organization. Okay, cool. Awesome. And here's a link. That's totally fine. Now, another way you can do it as well, this is also really effective for opening the conversation back up, is you do it with more an open-ended interest to reach out to engage. So for example here, hey name, hey so-and-so, we just put on a live webinar covering 3 ways HR execs can reduce turnover by 25% in 2022. Want it? Would you like it? Let me know. Thanks. And that could be an email, it could be a text. So now if they open the email, they open the text, they see it, okay, cool. Like in order to get it, they have to respond to you, right? That's really powerful, right? So then they say, if it resonates with them, they'll say, that sounds awesome. Cool. Can you send over? Great. Reply back. Great. Here you go. By the way, how's everything going? So now you're starting to open a dialogue here again, right? So now it's like, again, this is a really powerful piece where you might be able to reignite the conversation to book another meeting, or you might be doing this for a while. And then 5 months later, 6 months later, now the timings are right, and now you're like, they're thinking of you because you're of value to them. You play the long game. They know, like, and trust you, and they want to do business, right? And then, of course, if you add in other really cool things like, which I didn't include in here, but like if you're, say, active on LinkedIn and they're seeing your posts, seeing you active, seeing all these things, and they're all core value pieces. Again, that's like subconscious follow-up too. That's like a ninja strategy right there, right? Now, that's a little more advanced, but that really works really well too. Okay. So number 4, holiday plays. This is something that's probably really underutilized. And it's like a really easy thing to do because these are just like holiday plays are basically just a reason to reach out. Okay. So if you think about in every single month, there's almost some sort of holiday. So, for example, I'll do US based, kind of keep it simple. Like January, you have New Year's. Okay. February, Valentine's Day. March, you have St. Patrick's Day. April, I don't know, it could be like a spring thing, right? May, it could be, I don't know, Mayflowers. I don't know, Cinco de Mayo, right? So you get my point. So my point is like, you're utilizing some sort of like general theme, like a holiday, as a reason to reach out, another reason to follow up. And this could be anything from like physical mailers, drop-offs, to digital reach outs. And the more personal, the better. That's really, really important. So, for example, like, and it's really, think about this. This could be giving without expectation. So, for example, like, I don't know, if it's Halloween, if you're like, if you're doing physical mailers or whatever, you drop it off, maybe you're mailing them candy or something, like, hopefully there's no other scary problems with your XYZ, whatever. I mean, I'm just making something stupid up, but you get my point here. Even if it's cheesy, it's kind of funny. It stands out, and the more personal, the better. The more relevant to them, the better it's going to be. All right. And of course, holiday is a great time. Right. So, for example, another example is, let's say it's Christmas time and you send them over just, some nice chocolates, and, it's like, hey, just want, hope you have a Merry Christmas, and just want, again, thank you again for the time, we spoke a couple months back. Looking forward to hopefully working together in the next few months. Again, you're just standing out. You're being personal, you're being likable, and you're being relevant again. Okay. So really easy. So when you kind of tackle these two in together, or you like hedge these two together, value plays and holiday plays, you create these additional reasons to bring them more value, help them like you, know you, trust you more. So ultimately, you're able to get to that point where they have 100% confidence in you, your low perceived risk, and high perceived value. Because when you are consistent this way, you are showing them you're not just like some crappy sales rep who reaches out one time, doesn't have a good meeting, and then they never fall back up. You're showing them you're a professional. All right, cool. Holiday plays. All right, and then last but not least, and there's many other strategies. This is probably my 5 favorite ones. Are humor plays, and this is like, there's so many ways you can leverage humor. Remember this. One of the greatest things you can do to break up sales pressure or tension with any situation is just some humor. It doesn't mean you need to be super funny or whatever, right? So understanding that. So for example here, if they're ghosting you, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite ghosting memes here. And this is really powerful because this helps release some of my sales pressure, makes them laugh, and makes them want to just hopefully engage with you. All right. So for example here, by the way, you can also combine this with like holiday plays, and you're only limited by your imagination. All right. So I'm really not that funny. I think I'm funnier than I really am. So it is what it is. But you are probably way funnier than I am. So, do what makes you feel comfortable as well, that you enjoy, but also make sure just to exercise some really good emotional intelligence here. This is really, really, really important. Okay. So for example, I used to have a sales rep who was a fantastic sales rep, but sometimes his emotional intelligence with some of these type of things, like he would send like kind of like funny political things that really were really a stretch. It could have gone either way with a prospect, right? I find out later, I'm like, oh boy, like I'm just glad they thought that was funny and they liked you more, but it could have gone the other way. So just be really aware of that and just exercise good emotional intelligence. Just picture whatever you send, whatever you do, if they were to just post it online, share it with the world, how would you feel? Would you be embarrassed, or would you be proud that you did it? Right. So important to understand. So, so let me show you some of my favorite ones that maybe they're ghosting you. So these are good ones you can take, you can reuse, and I'm sure there's better ones out there. These are some of my favorite ones I say in my phone that I use, and you might like too. So for example, here, this is the first one. Okay. Like this is, I think to me, it's pretty funny. This is Uno. If you're gonna play Uno, call me back or draw 25, right? That's you, right? Send that to a prospect. Pretty funny. Okay. Are you ignoring me on purpose? Right. Okay. I know, stupid. I get it. Trust me, I get it, stupid. But again, my goal is that maybe they chuckle and they think, oh man, Marcus is a bonehead. But let me just respond back real quick. Totally cool. No big deal. All right. Let's take a look. Just wait for you to get back to me. Right. I didn't make this one either. So these ones I got from online internet, probably Instagram or somewhere, right? So I thought it was pretty funny. And of course, you can also use tools to make your own as well. So for example, I made this on Mematic, right? This has been really effective for me as well. You, me, if you're sending them a text or email, hey, so-and-so, sorry to keep bugging you. Hopefully you don't feel like this. Okay. So, again, I think it's funny. Maybe it's not funny to you, but you get my point. Find something you're going to like, if they've already committed to you, right? Here's the one I made as well. So again, it's up to you and your own creativity to what you find is funny, and of course leveraging it. And I wouldn't like do this after like, again, have good EQ here. Like, let's just say you had a good discovery call and you're supposed to have a second meeting that's going to come up, and then they have to reschedule, they cancel last minute, and then you don't want to send this ASAP, right? You've tried to follow multiple times already over a period of time. Of course, exercise good EQ, and then you want to utilize one of these. All right. So again, just like anything else, you have to like use some critical thinking to make sure you're actually using it appropriately. Okay. So I don't want you to like start sending every prospect you have, and you get a bunch of angry texts back. And they're like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Well, I blame Marcus. Don't blame me. Use your own discretion. Find good ones that fit you. I think you'll enjoy this." So, all right, cool. So there you have it. So here's the truth. All these are really simple to do and help you really keep top of mind. But sometimes it's simple to do. It's also simple to not do. But if you could take any type of core themes from this, the key is to be relevant and consistent. And since most salespeople are not, you're going to stand out. And I'll tell you right now, when I first got started in sales, I definitely was the worst rep. I was not any good at all, but my follow-up game was also really good. Okay, I had really insane follow-up skills. So I would follow up nonstop. So even if I totally botched the sales process, but I at least built enough pain, but I was so consistent in my follow-up that it really helped me just stay on top of my game with my on CRM, reaching out, these things I had to share with you today. And they would eventually wear it out and buy, right? Because they're like, all right, cool. Like maybe the competitor had an issue or whatever, time is better now. And now they're ready to move forward. Because now I'm top of mind. I'm the only person they're thinking about. They don't know about anybody else. And that's how I've secured some really big deals, by simply not because I was amazing early on, but I had just amazing follow-up as a result of it. Okay. So really simple. Yeah. So most salespeople don't do this very well. Okay. So summary, the best strategy, of course, again, is running a really tight sales process up front. This will solve a majority of back-end ghosting issues just by doing that. Your follow-up must be relevant and of value. I'm saying it must be of relevant and of value. 3, it's easy to do. It's also easy not to do. So just remember the forces of the follow. There you have it. 5 super simple follow-up strategies. Drop a comment below. Let me know what was your favorite strategy, what questions you have. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell button to be notified of future videos. And if you want to copy this guide, go ahead and look below as well. You'll see you can access the guide completely free. Thank you so much for watching.